Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the Gracious Hope Podcast. I'm your host, Alexander L. Red. And today we are leaning into a conversation that feels like fresh air for the mind and a steady drumbeat for the soul of a nation, Liberia. And we are so glad to be here today. And this podcast today is characterized as Brother Day Liberia. So there's a lot we'll be talking about today about our country and also looking at our special guest, Mr. Dennis Jah. And he is the founder of the Focus on Liberia podcast and platform, and a man who lives a rare intersection where technical precision meets national purpose. So, for more than 15 years, Dennis has worked in the demanding world of healthcare, that is, healthcare technology, or may I say, information technology. And in the United States is where he lives. And he has been very diligent in carrying on that role as a leading enterprise level integration of projects, guiding data migration and helping major health systems connect the pieces so patient care can move with safety and clarity. Now, when your work touches electronic health records, interoperability, and strict standards like HL7, FHIR, or HIPAA, which is the confidentiality law in the United States regarding patient care, you learn quickly that details are not small. They carry weight, they protect people. But what makes Dennis especially compelling is that he brings the same discipline into public thought. And beyond healthcare, he is an author and blogger committed to education, history, and civic engagement. Over 8 years ago, he founded Focus on Liberia with a clear mission to promote national consciousness, preserve historical memory, and encourage public participation. Now, through all the interviews over the years on educational programs or thoughtful discussions and multimedia storytelling, his platform, Focus on Liberia, has become a trusted resource for Liberians at home and in the diaspora, creating a space for hard questions, deeper learning, and a more informed society. So today, we are excited to have him here. And we are not only talking about what Dennis does, we are talking about why it matters. We are exploring the power of knowledge, the responsibility of media, and the kind of national awakening that begins with people deciding they will no longer be passive observers of their own story. And so we'd like to welcome right now our special guest, Mr. Dennis Jah. Welcome to Gracious Hope Podcast today. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. And thank you very much, Pastor Ray, for inviting me. I'm glad that I'm here and it's different. I'm so used to interviewing people, so I no longer know how to answer questions. But
Ex- Exactly. So you are the guest now. You're going to be taking questions. You're going to say a lot here because it is a wealth of experience you've had over the years on Focus on Liberia. You've talked about variety of topics from every corner of our homeland, Liberia, both in the home and also in the diaspora. Those who live in the United States, those who live in Europe, Asia, and everywhere else. You have been talking about pertinent issues that pretty much affect them in every way. But you see, the other side, a lot of people don't know about you. They might know that you are a Liberian, you're from Liberia, and you came to the United States to resettle. They don't know your professional world of healthcare integration, interoperability, and data migration. So let's start with that first, okay? We'll get into the other nuances regarding your nationality, which is Liberian, and some of the things that you experienced when you're growing up. But what drew you into that space of healthcare and data migration? And what has been altogether 15 plus years in that high stakes environment taught you about leadership and responsibility?
again, thank you, Mr. Ray, for inviting me here. Our people say if you live near the river, you can wash your hands with spit. So we
Mm-hmm.
in America, the greatest country in the world, so where there are so much opportunities, and so we try to be able to tap into the opportunities that are around us. And I must say thank you so much also for the work that you do. Those of us from Liberia, remember you as a journalist,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we know. And now you have branched up into ministry. You are preaching. Sometimes I listen to some of your podcasts, and the topics you touch on are very inspiring. As someone who loves knowledge, so when I listen to somebody saying something interesting or something else,
Mm-hmm.
because we're so accustomed to the kind of preaching where, I was telling to somebody, I say the yelling and everything. So if somebody is making sense, I'm actually attracted. My background is born and raised in the church, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
familiar with things that go on in the church. So I love sermons. Coming to my professional background, and this is something that I rarely talk about. And most people who watch me, you hardly see people who know that are in healthcare or that are in technology. They say, "Oh," if sometimes I ask people, "What do you think I studied?" They either say political science or journalism or something else. But yeah, um, I'm in healthcare IT, and I wouldn't say something drove me there. Maybe I found myself there, as by chance.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Liberia, when I went to college in Liberia, I wanted to be an electrical engineer. That was before the war. And then when the war stepped in and everything was destroyed, I said, well, let me do economics. But long story short, I was not able to. So when I came to the United, and for the next 10 years, we were from one refugee camp to the other. So when we came in the States, I wanted to do electrical engineering still, but I went to the community college. And in the community college, electrical engineering was a transfer major. So I'm coming from Liberia, where the university closes and opens every other year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the back of my mind, and then for 10 years, you are in refugee camp. At the back of my mind, what I was thinking is maybe school is going to close again. So let me do a 2-year program, get my associate degree, and then I can move on. And so since Boss Community College was not offering engineering on the associate degree level, you have to transfer. I didn't want to be in any limbo. So I decided to do computer networking and get a degree. So I got the associate degree. Then I felt like, okay, for the past 10 to 12 years, I've been running behind this degree. So it felt good. All right. And then decided to go for the master's, and I didn't go for healthcare technology.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out by doing a paper on user resistance. So doing user resistance, working on that paper, I found out about health informatics,
Mm-hmm.
because that's the bridge between nurses or the healthcare and technology.
Mm-hmm.
Because before then, there were not people trained in health informatics. So what happened? IT people would do a project for healthcare people.
Mm-hmm.
After they've completed that, they find that project or whatever system they put together unusable because they did not involve the users. So they needed people like me to translate user requirements into technical requirements so that IT people can build something. So I found that very interesting because even when we go to school here, all we think about is how do I use this back home? So I wanted to do something that I would be, in the middle of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And this has helped me a lot because your career is the bridge between healthcare and IT. The two don't speak to each other, so they speak through you. I think you know where I'm going with this now. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I ended up in after my graduate degree. That's how I ended up in healthcare, healthcare IT. And the more I work, because it's like, even though I didn't know what this was when I was going into it, but gradually I started to grow into it and learn more that there's something Because there are some natural abilities that you have and you don't
Mm-hmm.
even realize until you get in there. Because one of the things that drive change is system thinking.
Yeah.
You don't think, just this vision. You want to see how things affect each other. Okay,
Yes.
that helps you think about the implications of what you do, has it affect other people. So that's where I am. So when I got there and decided to do more, it has helped me in almost everything that I do. Because before you even come to the realization of doing something, you must first study the landscape, right? This thing I'm coming up with a policy.
Mm-hmm.
I must first know what is happening now, today, what is happening. What are the pain points? How can they solve this problem? All that. So it's like you're thinking in that broader vision. So that career, it has helped me to fashion the way I think about things and the way whatever I do or say affect other people and the implications they have. Most of the time when people are coming up with a law or with anything in life, sometimes they get out and say, okay, let's go and clean the road or let's do X, Y, Z. But why? What have you tried? Because even for you to build a church, why do I want a church? Well, I want to win souls. Okay. If I want to win souls, what are the different ways to win souls? Is it starting a church? Is it evangelizing? Is it doing what? So you get three options, and then you say, okay, let me find the most effective way of doing this. So you
Mm-hmm.
get on that. And I think that is the missing piece in my country.
Hmm.
Yeah. That
Wow.
that way of thinking about things. we,
Yes.
we
Yes.
grab one thing and we just move on to it. And so that's how I found myself there, and that's how I've been there, and I enjoy what I do.
Wow. So 15 plus years in that environment of technology, integrating data or data migration, and looking at leadership in that role and also responsibility on yourself. Now, in that kind of an environment that you are, you've understand and you've seen systems built, and you work on projects where systems have to talk to each other
Yeah.
plainly. Now, so when you think about your homeland, Liberia, with everything you've learned so far, what are the systems that still struggle in our homeland to connect, and what will true national inter operability look like socially and civically?
That's a big one, and it's a very good question. So in the first place, we have to realize that we have a system. All right, and let's take our body for example. The body is a system. That's why we learn digestive system and all these systems, right?
Hmm.
So let's say if you are treating the stomach, you're a stomach doctor, and whatever you are doing is going to have impact on the hand or the
Yes.
head. So you must talk to the head doctor. Whatever you are doing to the head is going to have impact. So all of us must talk
Yes.
if we realize that what we are working on. So the government is a system. Whatever you do there in your little corner in the village, all the way in Nimba County, affects somebody all the way in River G. So we're working in a system, but do we realize that? Or do we realize that, okay, I'm in my little corner, so whatever I do here stays here?
Hmm.
So in the first place, I don't think we have come to the level of realize how interconnected these things are. Okay, there's the story is told about a man who was going to the king invited everybody, say, come to my party, but when you come, you just bring one bottle of drink. And everybody thought, this is the king, he has everything. So they didn't bring their drink. What the king was banking on was everybody carrying one bottle was going to be the liquor available at the party. But people neglected that their little bottle was insignificant, so nobody took it. And so there was this party without any drink. And just imagine. So in our country, this the whole idea of system thinking that has been our problem for a very long time. We don't think that our little action that we perform in Bannersville on the football field there has anything to do with the running of the government at the executive mansion. we don't even believe, and that's why working together has been very difficult. Many times when I focus on Liberia is like a network, and we try to bring people together so that we can all work. But
Mm-hmm.
people don't even see it that way. We believe that everybody should be in their little space doing their little thing, and so it's difficult. If we leave from here, go to Liberia to work, we believe that, yes, I'm bright, I'm this, so I'm going to go to Liberia and make a change. But
Mm-hmm.
you cannot make any meaningful change without the person at the other office there working with you
Mm-hmm.
or understanding how these things are connected. So I think that system thinking and understanding that we are all working together to keep one thing moving is lacking. And I think that's a major one that I see.
Yes, yeah, it's a major one to have a system that is built where information can flow throughout the entire country from governmental level
Right.
to the civic level and the social level. We don't have that kind of a system.
No.
And I know there might.
And it doesn't have to be or maybe that technical, right?
Mhm.
Take for instance, like you mentioned HL7. So
Yes.
before two systems talk to each other, you have a lab system and then you have electronic medical system. Before they talk to each other, they must first agree on the standard. Which
Yeah.
standard are we using? Is it HL7? Is this one? If we agree on HL7, then we say, okay, where do you send the first name? I will send it in this segment. Middle name will be in this segment. Date of birth will be in this segment, right?
Hmm.
So for the two systems to talk together, they must be standard and they must agree upon things that they're going to do
Yeah.
before they are able to connect. If not, they're never going to connect. Do we understand that? Maybe not.
I agree. And for every systems that are set up, there are standards,
Yeah.
policy that govern all of them. Like in the U.S. and in the healthcare industry,
Mhm.
you have like HIPAA, the
Right.
HIPAA, that protect patients' right and responsibility, and also that confidentiality. You have standards like
Exactly.
the HL7, the FHIR, and all of that, and they all are having or putting them in place or in the right area for it to help the entire system will require precision and compliance. Now, if you look at all of those standards that we're talking about, that you have knowledge about, what principles from those standards translate into public life, like governance, transparency, and accountability?
As you said, standard. What is it that we are going by? What is governing us? And then you have these agencies you call, you say HIPAA. You have
Mhm.
these governing bodies that will regulate what we do. Do you know that the nursing home, for instance, is even more regulated than the nuclear power plant?
Hmm.
Because everything is guided by even how the doorway should be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a regulation there. How high, even the noise level, the temperature of the food, the temperature of the water, everything else, that's regulation. They're all regulated. Okay. So if we don't agree on anything, how do we work? One of the questions you hear in Liberia is they will say, oh, this administration is better than this administration. This president is better than this president. You've heard that many times, right?
Yeah.
But do you know there's no criteria we are using to measure them? There's no criteria. Last Friday, we were having a show and we're trying to rate the current administration. And we have key indicators. Here are the indicators. Because if you say, Ellis Red can play, we all play soccer, and you say Ellis can play more than Dennis, right?
Mm-hmm.
You number five and number seven. So what do you mean? So we must have standards. We must set the criteria first, and we use those criteria to run them across.
Yes.
That another thing that is missing. So it's like we do things just on top of our heads. We are not setting the baseline, okay, and using that baseline to be able to measure everything else. You'll be surprised, like if you rate all the president. I mean, let's start with the modern president, say from
Mm-hmm.
Tubman to now. I did that experiment and I was surprised that President Doe, whom we all condemn, right? But because we use certain standard, he scored very high on those standards. But whenever there are no standards, we
Mhm.
have no yardstick, we have no criteria. We are only talking because how we feel. We don't
Wow.
going to go very far in measuring anything.
Yeah, yeah. Standards are very important, and if we have a standard that can not just hold accountable those who are, civil servants are operating those standards, there must be, clear a process of how those principles are put into place.
Exactly.
Um,
And we
but
must have a group whose
mhm,
work it is to evaluate those things, those standards, right? Like we will have a group. It could either be CMS, it could either be Health and Human Services, it could be something, it could, you know, anybody, any
mhm.
group that we put together and say, okay, this group, this group, it is their job to be able to regulate X, Y, Z. Do we
Yes.
even have respect for anybody to be able to guide us?
Mhm.
Sometimes that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. And looking at our, systems from a building systems, because once systems are built, they can run. They
Yeah,
can the system. Whether someone is in that position, when they depart that position, others will come in and will go through the same policy, same standard, because there's a system in
it's
place.
set up. Yeah.
Yeah, so systems are very important. And with your wealth of knowledge, 15 plus years working in the industry, dealing with data migration, data um, processing, and how operational data meet certain standards before being dispensed to the public consumption. It is something I believe that all Liberians should see how we all now can uh, contribute our expertise in talking about standards or
Yeah.
systems
Yeah.
that can be operable in a way that will benefit the entire masses of our country. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the Gracious Hope Podcast. Our special guest today is Mr. Dennis Jah, and he's the founder and host of Focus on Liberia. And we are talking about his life, his expertise, and some of the things that we didn't even know. He wanted to be an electrical engineer. Wow, that is your detail-minded career. But here he is now in the healthcare industry and dealing with various systems and procedures and processes where um, those standards are translated into public life for governance, for transparency and accountability. Like in the U.S., you are held accountable if you don't protect a patient's
Yeah.
health information. That's
Yeah.
what they got HIPAA law,
Right.
there federally. And that is why for every employer, they make sure that they have orientation for
Hmm.
all of their employees to be aware that data information is confidential, and also it is to be protected under
Right.
the system, and
Right.
also to show that accountability and transparency. Now, another thing is that people know, or some people might know or not know, they know that you are an author and also a blogger, focusing on education, history, and civic engagement. So this is the question. What personal burden or passion push you beyond your career into public writing?
Thank you. I just wanted to mention about the system we're talking about.
Okay, go
One
ahead.
key thing is and because sometimes when we think of these things, we think they are just super, kind of you got to be this sophisticated to do, but they are just basic things like testing, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So before we do anything, right? So if I get a project, I manage integration projects. Before you get a project, first, what is it that you want? So I do requirements gathering. I get what is it that you need.
mhm.
I get the requirements gathering. I talk with you back and forth, and then I'm able to scope what you want, put
Yeah.
it in the writing that my technical people understand, and I give it to them for them to build the system. Even when they build it, we have to test it and make sure it's working. Is what you actually asked for. After the testing, so we test it, and in testing is like you try to break it. You try to do all kinds of things. And when you say testing, you say, let's say you have a system that's supposed to add numbers, 2 plus 3 equal 5. So that's a test. Then you say, you use negative numbers. Then you use numbers as long as over trillions and see what are the system. So you do all kinds of things to test the system. Then you say, okay, even though this system is supposed to take 10 persons, let's use 200 persons and see whether it's going to break. So you test it all kinds of ways. If that passes, and then you move it to go live. So there are steps. And even while you are in go live, that whatever system you build is going to get bad. So you continue support because there are going to be mistakes. You don't build a system and just walk away and go to bed. So constantly you are supporting it. You are making sure bugs are fixed. All the things that's supposed to make it break, you fix them. Then at a time, you can no longer need that system because you remember we're using a typewriter. We no longer use it. So there will be time, whatever system you build, it's going to have a useful life.
Yeah.
But when the time finish, Pastor, you throw it away and go to new one. You can say, this system my grandfather left with me, so I'm going to use it until I die. You constantly keep improving.
Yes.
And keep moving. Now, that's what I wanted to add in. And that's how we should look at life. That's how we should look at relationships. That's how we should look at governance. That you got to pass through something, you got to test it, make sure it works, and you got to constantly, if you're a farmer, you got to constantly keep watering that. And when it grows, the useful life, it's got to plateau, right? It comes down, you say, okay, I can move to something else, or I can do something else. Don't be one thing and you just die there. You got to go on.
Exactly.
Coming to my writing, again, I was born all the way behind God's back, where you have parents that didn't go far in school. So, like writing and all those things, it's like by the time you were born, and people start noticing you that you have certain gifts. So we were like second grade, third grade in my little town. And
what is the name of the town and where, which part of Liberia, and what are your parents' name and everything? Let's siblings and all of that. Go ahead.
Exactly. I was born in a town in Sino County called Dudwiken. That's right now they will say district number 2. It's called Jiripo District. And my parents, they all passed away now. My mom Anna and my father Wilson, they passed. But my mom did not go to school at all. My father was like up to maybe third grade. Those days, this is a long time. So my siblings, in the town, what we're blessed with is a very good mission school, Christian mission school by American missionaries and all that. So education was like top notch in that little town. So writing, so you have my older siblings, all my siblings that God gave me were 14. I'm like the 11th. So I'm way down the line. So most of the time, as they graduate from the junior high school in the town, they go to Monrovia to follow their education. So my brother, when my brother left, because, you had to write letters for your parents, for the neighborhood, because their siblings, there are people going to Monrovia back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So my brother used to do that. When he graduated and left, that burden fell on me. And you're talking about people in 5th grade, 6th grade writing letters. So writing and storytelling started very early in life. Because if you live in a little town or a village, storytelling is a way that you pass the night. And then you have to write, because our father placed a lot of premium on education. So we started to write letters, because you have your siblings in Monrovia, you have to write them if you want something. If you want your vacation, if you want July vacation, you write. So we started writing very, very early. And I have all my, most of my siblings, they all educated. So education was like a given. And then you have the mission school, they're teaching and doing all that. So very early on, we started writing, and then with storytelling. My brother Dave, I credit him for most things. It were like 3 years apart, but like
Mhm.
whatever class he was in, he would teach us. So it's like when he in fifth grade, while we in third grade, we are learning from him.
Yeah,
So everything he did, and growing up when you are in that place, most of the thing we all did right was to be journalists, right? You get on the radio, you say you are reading news, you are
yeah.
writing, and all those things. So that's how very early in life storytelling. So when we moved from actually the oral storytelling, we started to write the story and show it to somebody and say, "Oh, you're good." So up in high school, same thing. I went to Moravia College, one of the best schools in the country.
Hmm.
So writing that, you will write stories, show them to your teacher, and you do this. So all along, I've been writing.
Wow. Were you able to work with any Liberian media back home, or did you
No,
rub shoulders with any experienced media broadcaster or in the print area?
no. What we were doing was we'll write an article and
Hmm.
then show it to some, because by the time you have sisters, that my sisters, they were all working, they are out of college, they have their husbands or boyfriend, all these people, they were kind of indirect mentors, right? So when you
Hmm.
write something, so where the most writing that I did in Liberia was a letter to the editor. I don't know if
Hmm.
you recall 1988 when this show Malawala Balawala came, and it
Hmm.
was very high up there. In 1988, I wrote an article. We said, "Stop Malawala Balawala on TV." And it became a big deal. People were arguing about it all across the country. So in Liberia, the highest I went was writing in the newspaper, and because I have an older brother too who was doing the same thing, so we write something, he checks it, and then my sister's was working at NIC, another sister was working at university. Give it to them, they give it to their friends. So we were just going on, and if you have, I was blessed to have older sisters who were working, sending us to one of the best schools, linking up with their friends also
Hmm.
who love to write. So they were kind of checking, but I didn't have the opportunity to work with a newspaper or any of that sort until the war came when we went into exile. In exile now, because we were so idle, so my brother and I would get up and we just write stories.
Hmm.
In fact, up to today, we still have stories that we wrote in ink and pen that we've never transcribed. They're still like
Hmm.
that. And we
Wow.
always wrote each other. If you come from a large family, corresponding is all you do. Pen
Yes.
pal days, taking Bible corresponding courses, and those kind of things. They were things that we were all proud of and we all love to do.
Wow. And we'll take a break right now momentarily and we'll come back. I want to hear more about Stop Balawala. What was the motivation behind that writing? And what was the writing all about, or its motive? To tell our listening audience. We'll be right back. And you're just joining us. This is the Gracious Hope live podcast, Brother de Liberia, featuring Dennis Jah. He's the founder and host of Focus on Liberia. And we are talking about a variety of things. His experience, both in the healthcare industry as a Liberian, hosting one of the most popular platforms in the Liberian community, both home and abroad. And we'll be back right back. Don't go away. Join us, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Gracious Hope Bible Fellowship. It is free as well. And we'll be right back. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. All right, and we are back. And of course, Focus on Liberia. It is a huge platform. It's on YouTube as well as it's on Facebook. You can catch Focus on Liberia weekly, I believe weekly and weekends as well. But he's going to tell you the available hours his podcast comes on. It has been around for a very long time. And the aim is to ensure that all Liberian citizens are informed in every structure or aspect of um, of the political, economic, social, and cultural issues that affect them. And so, as a host, it is good to hear from him to get his experience over the years. He has hosted many topics and many guests on his program. Now, Dennis, when it comes to Focus on Liberia, that platform, he has been around for over 8 years.
Right.
Take us back to the beginning. What problem were you trying to solve in your mind when you founded Focus on Liberia? And what vision did you have when you first launched Focus on Liberia?
Thank you. That's another great question. So in Liberia, what I noticed was every time you mention Liberia, right?
Mhm.
What people thought about by the time you say Liberia, number one, oh, country founded by free slaves. That's the first thing. The second thing will be, oh, the Civil War. Third, you had a female president,
Mhm.
Ebola, right?
Yes.
So I'm saying, okay, Liberia is a country. I was at work one time, somebody told me, oh, like you're from Liberia, right? And oh, it's okay now because there's no more war. So I said, but a country is more than that,
Mhm.
right? In a country just like here, you care about healthcare, you care about all kinds of things. So it's not just war, right?
Mhm.
So the goal was and still is to present Liberia in a holistic way so that you look at Liberia as a country that we have music, we have culture, we play sports, we love, we have relationship, we do everything else. We want to put people on the moon. We want to do all kinds of things that every other country wants to do. So
Yes.
don't just look at us. So we wanted to present Liberia in that holistic way so that you will see us that we are things are, with diverse group. We are not just this one group. And our story is more than being founded or by ex or the descendant of ex-slaves and repatriates. So I wanted to say, let's talk about Liberia. Let's talk other things. And the other platform, that came up that time, they were all about news, and the news is all about government. What is the government doing wrong? What is the government doing right? Which government you support? Who is doing this and who is doing that? So we wanted to say, okay, let's have show about history. What's
Mhm.
about business, finance, and economics? What's about culture? What's about literature? What's about music? What's about sports? Everything else, civic education. So the goal is to make sure to make Liberia an informed citizenry
Mhm.
that attracts the world. That's our mission. If we are the democracy we talk about and everything else we talk about, we cannot participate meaningfully in the democracy if we are not informed, if we are
Mhm.
not educated. So that's the goal. That's what the problem we set out to address. And after 8 years, I can tell you that there is a lot of information out there about Liberia now than ever before.
Yes, because I mean, Focus on Liberia is a global platform, and your platform covers a whole lot.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I just want you to go back right now on that Balawara story you wrote about stopping Balawara. What was it all about? What were you trying to communicate
So
to the
so
public?
so in that piece, and I still remember, and that time, and even still now, whatever I wrote or whatever I did,
Hmm.
my big brother Dave will be part of it, right? So at
Hmm.
that time, we say, oh, Balawala, according to, this is 12th grade student. In my mind, that time, I say he was teaching tricks. He was
Yeah.
teaching gangster. I use the word gangsterism. I say how people should cheat, Omen Gonda and this other cheating. You got a cheating wife and all that. So I said he was teaching things that young people should not emulate. And so
Hmm.
that was my
Oh,
thought.
okay. It was just showing the immoral side of things so they can know
Yes.
that it is wrong, but they were
Mhm.
just doing that through play or
Right.
drama. But they should not copy or the program was not there to validate wrongdoing, but was there to shed light on wrongdoing so that the society can grow in a way where people have a moral sense of what is right and what is wrong. That's what you're trying to communicate in that article, correct?
No, I didn't see it. My young mind didn't see it that way, that they were correcting something. I said they were promoting it. They were
Okay.
promoting immoral acts, which were not good for the society. So I didn't see that they were trying to teach a lesson. I mean, I
Okay.
wouldn't think the same way today. But at that time, that's what I thought. And
Okay.
and let me tell you an
Mm,
experience that I had, because at that same year we used to go to LBS for the quizzing midday challenge. I was the captain of Morovia College that year, so we went, and Kakura Kamara, works there too,
mhm.
and they were furious. So he wanted to debate. So we're out there, and they came, and everybody was talking. But I had one person, one lady there, I forgot her name. She too graduated from Morovia College. So she was supporting me. She said she was. So Kakura Kamara said we're going to go and debate, why I wrote the article and all that. So somebody told him, say, that Peking get nothing to lose. You better forget about him.
I know.
So and that way, but there was a lot of response across the country. People were not happy with me. But then there were a few that said, well, growing up, that's what anybody growing up, you want to be an intellectual, you want to write, you want to challenge the status quo.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I was doing at that time.
Okay, that's good. And looking at your current platform, which is focused on Liberia, you cover history, governance, science, culture, and current events. Now, the question is, why did you choose such a broad range of topics or subject matters?
Mhm.
And how do you decide what topics
Right.
Liberia most needs to wrestle
And,
with right now?
good. And that's the whole idea of building a network, and not just. I told somebody, I
Mhm.
said, you can just have one show and have a TV station. So the goal is bring people around, because I'm not hosting everything. For instance, we have the literary hour, Liberian literature, hosted
Mhm.
by Dr. K. Moses Nambwe and the Fulbright scholar Jackie Syed.
Mhm.
So what we're doing is I talk to, you make a platform available.
Mhm.
CNN doesn't have just one show. And I'm thinking big. I'm thinking to be more than the CNN of Liberia. So you bring other people along. There are people there, so somebody come and we talk that I want to have a show on your platform because I see what you are doing. And then we
Mhm.
go through, because if your mission and our mission aligns, then we say, okay, you can do that. But the goal was to do things, big.
Mhm.
Let's discuss everything that is Liberia, because we are not just one, we're not thinking of one thing. So different people do different programs, even though I cannot superintend everything, but
Mhm.
I make sure that it's also in line, because at our core is education.
Education.
Educate the people. Because if we are not educated, we can't even vote. We can't even make any wise decision. And that
Mhm.
comes from, when people are informed, that information is, from the education we provide. And God has blessed me is like somebody told me to say, whatever you focus on, that will grow.
Yeah.
So if you focus on innovative ideas, then I see topic in almost everything. If you focus on it, just be focused on that, topics going to come, innovation. So right now I can think of 15 different topics in each area to talk about. And
Mhm.
also that's a gift that God has blessed me with. But I'm not doing this alone. I have a lot of people part
Mhm.
of Focus on Liberia who we talk, they bring up ideas. I'm
Yeah.
able to we have maybe like 30 plus persons. If we put all the focus on Liberia, everybody who's connected, who's coming as a panelist, who's doing something with over 30. Some of them are 3 or 4 times more educated than I am.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm able to, one thing too is if you are leading people and you are not intimidated by what they bring,
Yeah.
you want to put everyone together so that we can or achieve a goal. And that's why when you started something, be outcome driven.
Yes.
Don't be process driven. The outcome here is to make Liberia the more informed society. So how do we do that now is bring all these people together. So the outcome that I want, if that's what you want, we in business.
Exactly. So you have various shows on focus on Liberia, different platforms. So what are some of the platforms besides the one on education,
Good.
politics, and all of
We,
that?
we,
Do
we
you
have
have
health.
anything for the Christian community or
Yeah,
for any other topic, health?
right. We have Abitala Healthy Living that will treat health. We have Priscilla Ginato and our colleagues, they have a new day. They focus mainly on gender issues, equality, and all that. We have the literary hour, that's literature and education by Dr. K. Moses Namwe. It's been off for a while now, and Jackie. We have the history channel. We also have faith, the hour of faith. Previously, it used to be called Hello Pastor, where I interview pastors on faith issue, the church,
Mhm.
questions that have not been answered. That, like for instance, tithing,
Yeah.
the spiritual Israel or the political Israel, which Israel it is. Do we do this? And all the questions about heaven and hell.
Hmm.
If God created if in the beginning was God, what was before the beginning? Does God have a beginning? So we started to explore this question. And then we move on, say, well, focus on Liberia way for everybody. Not because Dennis is a Christian, so I should only discuss Christian
Yeah.
shows. So we changed that, we move on to the hour of faith, where we interview all faith and even people of no faith. I remember interviewing Muslims to talk about the myths in Islam, and that
Yeah.
helped a lot of people. We interview people who are adherent to traditional African belief to tell us what it is that what when we say traditional African belief, what is that? So,
Hmm.
and then we have business, finance, and economic show. So anytime there's budget, we break in the group to discuss business, finance, and economic. Last or Saturday, I think we talked about the sovereign wealth fund.
Hmm.
You know, the Liberal diaspora bond, those kind of things. We also have our justice forum, where I have legal experts. We
Hmm.
even have people that serve on the Supreme Court bench.
Yeah.
They talk about this legal issue because, Pastor Reb, one of the reasons why we have so much, conflict and people fighting is because we don't understand things. We only understand them politically. So if you heard that, or today, XYZ went to court and they did this, we apply our political understanding to it. So if
Hmm.
there's a case like the burning of the Capitol building, right?
Yeah.
We call it legal expert. When they arrested or Findabolo and the rest of it, we call the legal. How do you look at this? So we discussed. One of them said, "This is no case because you can't prove X, Y, Z." So we have that too, and others that may not come to my mind right now. And all of this is to educate the people. So if you hear the word elevate, educate, and promote all things Liberia, you are talking focus on Liberia. You're muted.
Okay. Yeah,
Mhm.
indeed, indeed, and it is encouraging because your platform focus on Liberia serves both the people of in Liberia and in the diaspora. And so the question becomes, what differences do you notice in how each group of Liberian views our country's challenges, and how can those differences become strength instead of divisions?
And that's what we hope to accomplish. But it's tough. It's very tough because people are focused a lot on the political side. The country is polarized at the
Hmm.
moment. And sometimes we tend to focus on what divides us than what unites us. Because
Hmm.
whatever you focus on, I said earlier, will grow. There are more things that unite us than those things that divide us. But if you are laser focused on the ones that divide us, that will be all that you see. So both in Liberia and in the diaspora, people are able, and it's very challenging if you are providing education and you are not
Yeah.
after the everyday talk. There are two issues that are going on in Liberia. They call me, and say, "Oh, what you say about this?" And I said, "That was really not important. That's people personal business. I don't want to." I mean, the issues that we are discussing. We're doing a series on education, just 2 minute video. If you go on, focus on Liberia, they talk about the importance of education. I say, you don't see that, and you want to talk about, who married who, that. So sometimes is a tough one to see
Mhm.
how much people are focused on the things. I wouldn't say they are less important, but maybe less
Mhm.
important to me, to the kind of goal that we set for focus on Liberia. And when people are focused on the other things, can be, sometimes hard. But
Yes.
in all this, there is a sustained group of people
Hmm.
that continue to see the value in what we do. Either they call us, either they send us, messages, or either they hold us at so much high standard. So you don't think people are watching you when you're doing something, that's a rare, until you fall.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would do a show and they say, "Oh, Dennis, that kind of show is beneath focus on like, bro, why?" Right? Because people want to see solid material coming out. And so that's the part that really warms my heart. That in
Yeah.
spite of the noise, in spite of the garbage that is on the internet, there are still is a group of people that want the best. So they say, well, we can go anywhere else to whatever we want to watch. But if we want to get something educational, something authentic, and something
Yeah.
that can last, that we can refer other people to,
Hmm.
we say focus on Liberia. We've been doing a series, and one of the areas is Roundtable Africa, where we discuss other African countries. We were
Yeah.
discussing Guinea the other day, the election there. And I mean, those guys know the stuff they're talking about. Sometimes we have people outside of Liberia from those countries come to share, their ideas
Yes.
on those things. And that's the one that keeps me going.
Yeah, and some of the Liberians who live abroad or in the diaspora, and those that live on the ground, there is some, we see some differences. And I have talked with many Liberians who visit Liberia. Their expertise here, some of them are working with different corporations, and they make plans to go back home and to see how the condition of the people and the country as a whole look or appear, so that they can have a smooth transition back home. But for some of them, they complain that Liberians who have been on the ground never had the opportunity to come to the United States to gain education and strengthen themselves in knowledge or career. They become very envious and jealous, and they try to undermine them, especially when they want to bring out, strict rules like work ethics and all of that. Those differences.
Mm.
If
And, and,
you
and I hear
go
them
ahead.
too. I hear those things too. But it's
Yeah.
on both sides. you know, Being someone who interview a lot, there's and I just reconnected to Alex Divine.
Hmm.
He kind of mentor young people,
Hmm.
and we watch the young people grow. When he first started, there's this Liberian poet now, I'm forgetting the young woman's name. And this case, when I started interviewing them, they were in high school. Now some of them have masters, and they are doing great,
Hmm.
right? I think the other girl is Biola. Yes.
Hmm.
Then the other kids that I interviewed that were in high school when they did the quizzing competition went to I think Morocco. They got masters in law. Some of them are in the States. So what you hear there is on both sides. We too go back home with attitude that I'm from America. You know, like some of us, since I came, I've never been on the beach. But when I go back, I act like I live on the beach, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Some of the things that we don't even do here, when we go back, we do the same thing. Some of the laws that we can't break here, we go there, we break those laws. So you can have, I don't like to talk of people like they are, the same. So
Hmm.
all those challenges are on both sides. Sometimes we go back with attitude, sometimes the people too give us attitude, but they are people. We have some young people, and the lady who does the History Channel mentors them. We call it
Hmm.
Liberal Leadership Academy. When you talk to those young people, You think that they went to school somewhere. Right now, we are working with some group of Liberians. I've never seen, because I'm in technology,
Mm-hmm.
kind of development, software development those kids do in Morovia. I've not seen it here. You'll be surprised that people in Liberia, this kid did not go anywhere. He has not even gone to Sierra Leone for school.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in Liberia. So my point is, we can always see those kind of people there, but what do we make of it? And
Yes.
how do we turn garbage into gold? That's the challenge. If we are coming from here, if we were all that good, if you leave from here, you become minister, right? And you know that we share the same. The first person you will come for, and I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes when we get there, we even build stronger barriers than the
Hmm.
people we met there. So it's all something that we all have to figure out how to move forward. It is now one group of people that have the problem. It's a problem that we all have, and we got to find a way to
Yeah.
fix
So, and you have hosted discussions and interviews with subject matters, and you bring experts on your program. What is one conversation that shifted your entire thinking, and what lesson do you wish every Liberian would take from it?
Well, I can't even put my, because we've done this for so long. But
One
one of the
memory
things,
of an
yeah,
interview that just changed your whole thinking.
one of it, I was interviewing university students, and they have this way of looking at things. The way they were looking at things is like, this is Liberia. Sometimes I get it from when I talk to people, like, whatever you do, even your children, they will tell you, oh, these children are they're African children.
Hmm.
People are beating their children in Liberia. When you tell them, hey, beating doesn't do more. Also, Dennis, America, but in Africa, we can beat the children. If you talk about, okay, why don't we approach this thing this way? They say, oh, that one that America in Liberia, the people don't understand anything until we do it this way. And so I was interviewing university students, and I had even the University Alumni Association. So we're talking about problem solving, and we're telling the kids that, hey, the Alumni Association, people that were in the same spot they're in now, that were there 40 years ago, some 30 years ago, say, hey, we have used this method to solve problems at the university all the time.
Hmm.
It doesn't work. Everything is forced. So anytime there is problem, let's say there's no chalk or the bathrooms are bad, talk to us. We are able to do something to solve the problem. And they say, no, the way we're doing it, that's the way we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that struck me. I was on the phone with somebody, and they take bath in the unfinished building. And the lady was telling like an 8, 9 year old girl to take her water in the place there. I mean, the bucket is even bigger than the girl. So I said,
Hmm.
but why would you do that? They said, oh, this thing that Africa. In other words, we think that human beings are different. No, we're not different. If
Yeah.
I was born behind a hut on plantain leaf. I used to walk 1 hour to get to school, cross 4 creeks. If I'm telling you this, I live it.
Yeah.
The things that were told to me that almost destroy my self-esteem. I'm telling you, those things can hurt children. Do not be insulting little children.
Yeah.
And they said, no, this is Liberia. America is different. So of all the conversation I had, they really warned me. It was that one conversation that got me down. Like, if we believe
Hmm.
that we cannot change or we can't do anything with our situation because we are in Liberia, that we are less than the people that are advancing, then
Yeah.
it means we have a lot of work to do. But most of the time, that was the only conversation that took me back. But the rest of the conversation is being so amazing what the young
Wow.
people in Liberia are able to do. And it
Wow.
keeps me very optimistic.
Yeah, and we just got a few more minutes to wrap up here. But your biography says you see knowledge and media as tools for empowerment. Now we live in an era of misinformation and emotional narratives. How can Liberians build habits of discernment and critical thinking without losing the heart of kindness or compassion?
Liberians are good people. And that every time I see Liberians, even the things they do, it's like what is driving them is their love for the country. They may not do it the right way, they may not do it properly, they may not do it in a way that will satisfy us, but the end goal is we want a better country. We see other people, how they are forging ahead, and we want that too for ourselves. We want that for our future, our children. And that's why we are doing what we do. And so for the media,
Yeah.
that sometimes we are chasing the clicks.
Yeah.
And so we're going to do all kinds of things so that we get the views. I get that challenge too. If your media in the US, if you don't lean toward political party X, Y, or Z, they will not bring their followers to watch you and then increase your viewership.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a challenge. How we cross that is we just continue to do the positive thing that we're doing. Sometimes somebody come to you and say, if you will turn things my way, we'll support you, we'll do this. Or at least if there's just one person with integrity who will say, no, we're going to keep doing this, even if we get no support. And I believe with time,
Yeah.
it will happen. The people, like you see the Bible, the people that you see prospering out of spreading falsehood, time will come, they're going to go away because people will see them. People will see what they do and the destruction they are bringing to the country. And so the few good ones going to survive. And that's the hope.
Now, if you could paint a clear picture of a brighter day for Liberia, what would it look like in practical terms over the next 5 to 10 years? And what roles should media platforms, educators, and everyday citizens play in getting us to the brighter day of Liberia?
That brighter day will come.
Hmm.
It's hard to put a finger on when, but it's definitely going to come because, like I was saying, sometimes we'll go low and we can go lower than that, and so we have to bounce back.
Yeah.
It's like you back somebody in a corner, they have nowhere to run, they have to hit back. So what we see here, sometimes it becomes very disheartening, sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes the future looks very bleak. But I believe in the power of the young people. Even the kids that we are having here, I have a 13-year-old son who plays soccer. And so what I was thinking, so he's getting better and better. So I was talking to him. I said, his name is Boris. I said, oh, when you go and play, I was telling him about Team We Are and what Team We Are was doing. I didn't even know that he had read all and saying all about that. So you know what he said? He said, so I said, when you play for the US, he said, no, Daddy, I'm going to play for Liberia and take Liberia back to Africa. I was stunned. I didn't even know that. So the kids that we're having here, especially with the parents that keep doing what we do, they have very deep connection with Liberia, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And even the kids in Liberia. So if we stay on as parents, bringing up our children and inculcating in them those Liberian values and continue to show positive example to the young people back home who needs mentorship, who needs the truth. Focus on Liberia, we have our staff there. And one thing they will tell you is, thank you, Focus on Liberia, for the mentorship. We didn't know how to do this. And they are willing, they are hungry, they want to learn. And they are grabbing onto that. And that's the bright spot. And I believe in the young people, and they're going to do well, and they're going to move the country forward.
Indeed, indeed. And for some of us just joining us who are about to end the program here, but we are talking about or exploring the power of knowledge, the responsibility of the media, and the kind of national awakening of our country that begins when people decide they will no longer be passive observers of their own story. And that is why Mr. Dennis Jah, founder and host of one of Liberia's popular platforms, which is the focus on Liberia, is talking about. And we cover a whole range of a lot of topics here today regarding focus on Liberia, his professional career in the United States over 15 plus years in the healthcare industry, IT professional, and also a man who is also a blogger and an author. And can you tell us some of the pages that people can look you up on?
Right. I have my main blog used to be dennisjah.blogspot.com.
Okay.
I'll just Google my name. Even on my own personal page, of late, I've been telling stories, audio stories. You will see that those stories, they're on my YouTube channel and TikTok. So you will see that. I have been, in fact, I started a virtual church, which is on YouTube. It's called Kingdom Influence Ministries. If you go there, you will see sermons, you will see Bible stories, you will see a whole lot of things. So if you go there, you will see what I do. I used to also blog on, and it's still there. I've not updated it. StereotypeLiberia.com. I was trying to say, hey, stereotypes is taking our country astray. So let's recognize that. We stereotype almost every group, So we try to explain the meaning of those stereotypes, the negative impact they're having, and how we can turn things around. So it will be stereotype Liberia. That's used to blog that too. And so I just type in my name and everywhere. Uh, I have a book of Proverbs that is coming up. It will be up very soon. I'm also working on another book called, it's almost like I call that, clashing viewpoints. So I try to take the topics in Liberia. Let's just say, should the flag of Liberia be changed? So I'll argue pro and argue the cons. So as to
Okay.
present the two pictures to Liberians, you read it and you decide. I'm not deciding for you, but here are the two sides. So
I hope that will be a discussion someday on the podcast for that book that will be coming up on our country, because those are thought-provoking, controversial issues as to whether we need to change the capital city Monrovia from James Monroe, America's fifth president, to a Liberian traditional name, or whether we should change the red, white, and blue straps of our national flag, or whether we should change the not the national anthem, but
the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance. So there's a lot of debate out
all
there.
those things are there. I present two sides to every topic.
Yeah, the love of liberty brought us here. Some people say it's outdated for the purpose and the landscape of our country now, looking at our diversity. And so, and some people are calling for a constitutional change. There should be some amendment. So there's a lot going on in our country. Everybody is looking up for a different facet of our country in many ways when it comes to developing our country culturally, bringing back our history to be the focus on how we need to understand our own traditions vis-a-vis the foreign values and ideas, and issue of governance, the issue of culture, and also current affairs. But it's a pleasure having you here today, Dennis.
Thank you. I really enjoy it. And let me also say that, it's a pleasure. Call me anytime. I told you before, I'm like drum. I don't talk until you slap me. And so
Yes.
thank you. It's a pleasure. And I always like to say, in my quest to give back to my country, I have a dream job. And that dream job is to be superintendent of Sino County one day. And at the same time, while I'm superintendent, I'm going to be teaching free at Sino High School.
Wow, that's a great ambition. I'm glad you revealed that, because I think we need to look more into that. The motivation for wanting to be a superintendent for Sino County, and the preparation, and what are some of the things and ideas you believe that are missing that you can bring that will be refreshing to the minds and hearts of those from Sino County.
Yeah, you bet.
Yes, hopefully we'll talk to that. We'll talk about that. Are you looking at a particular year you like to do that? Do you have a particular year?
Anytime.
Anytime.
Is a dream.
Oh, okay.
It's a dream. That's why I call it my dream job. Because
Okay.
yeah. So anytime I'm called upon or the circumstances, the opportunity presents itself, I'm gonna seize it. I've been in America for over 25 years now. I think I've been there, done that, and if I have the opportunity to give back to my country, I will do it. And I want to start at the very basic.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for all of you listening. Hey, don't forget to press that share button. Share our podcast with your friends, your families, your groups, and also your relatives as well. Until then, we'll be back here next Saturday. We are always here Saturday at 6 p.m. live stream. We live stream on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, as well as other platforms such as not Twitch alone, but also X, which is known as
Twitter.
Twitter as well. And so join us and yes, share this podcast. If you have more interest in it, share with your friends. And we'll be glad that you do so. Until then, we'll see you again. And thank you for coming, Dennis.
Thank you so much. Thanks to our viewers. Thanks for watching.
All right.